Welcome to the first video in our 5-day MVP workshop. We'll be condensing the entire 5-day process down into 50 minutes, or roughly 10 minutes per day for this exercise. In less than an hour from now, you'll have a fully functional and secure web application that's been user tested and is ready to scale. The first activity will require ChatGPT. The free version works just fine. Please register for ChatGPT if you don't have an account. To get started, we're going to use one of our example ideas from the course and create a simple budget tracker application. Now, our next step in the real world would be to set up a stakeholder interview. But for the sake of time, we'll ask ChatGPT to help us answer the planning questionnaire for step 2. I'll go ahead and copy and paste our planning questionnaire into the prompt with a minimal amount of information, including our idea, and that we want to stay within the scope of our free Lovable credits. We'll let ChatGPT think for a moment, and then we'll copy and paste the answer into our notes to review. I'll briefly skim the results to make sure we didn't get anything wrong. I can see that ChatGPT created 3 OKRs, a list of key stakeholders, a list of core features, and any technical constraints for my simple budget tracker application. This looks pretty good for our demo, but in your case, you may want to make some changes. Welcome back. In our day 2 activity, we will use our build script from day 1 to create a fully functional prototype. This activity requires Lovable. The free starter credits are fine. Please create an account if you don't already have one. This activity also requires a free subscription to Supabase. You'll be prompted to connect Supabase during your Lovable setup. Just follow the on-screen steps. To get started, open Lovable in your browser and paste in your initial prompt from day 1. Now, we'll have to wait around 2 minutes for this first pass, so I'll be right back while Lovable builds our prototype. And welcome back. You can see here Lovable's done building our initial prototype. I was just reading on the left-hand side there in the prompt panel a little bit about what it built for us, and I can see here now it's asking us to connect Supabase for full functionality. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. It's pretty simple. In the top right-hand corner in Lovable here, there's going to be a little lightning bolt looking icon. It's green, and we're going to go ahead and click on that. And then we will click the button to connect Supabase. And my account's already set up and going here, so I already have a project that I can connect this to. You may need to do a little bit of work on your end, depending on where you're at with setting up your account here. If you don't have an account already, now would be a good time to do so. And then after you create your account, you can go ahead and set yourself up with a new project. I already have one ready to go here. And go ahead and select it. And then we'll close this window. You can see we just received a toast message at the bottom right there that our application was connected. This current database already has some data in it from some previous exercises that we ran prior to this demo. We now get a little bit of confirmation messaging here around our Supabase connection. And now we can let Lovable know to continue setting up our application. Now that Supabase is connected. And we'll go ahead and run that prompt. and then we'll give Lovable another minute or two to get everything wired up for our application. I just wanted to take a moment to pause here and identify something that came up in the left panel. It's just asking me to approve some database changes, which we're going to go ahead and do. Every once in a while, Lovable may ask you to approve database changes or to approve some security changes. It's just asking for some manual verification. That way we know it doesn't make any changes to our database without asking us first. And we're back. I just tried to fill out the sign up form for our simple budget application, and I received our first bug. Looks like I received a toast message here to check my email, but I haven't received anything. So I just captured that information and put it into our Lovable prompt here. Now Lovable's come up with a couple different suggestions for how we can get around this. It's come up with a quick fix, which is just disable our email confirmation. That's something that comes out of the box with Supabase, which I would advise we take this route. There's also a long-term solution as well, which is just to set up some custom secure mailing. But just for the purposes of our demonstration, we're just going to go ahead and disable that email confirmation. Lovable's kindly given us here a button to click on for those authentication settings. We'll go ahead and click on that button, and we'll be directed over to our authentication screen here in Supabase. And under user signups, I can see under confirm email that that setting is in fact on. So we're going to go ahead and turn it off and save that change. And then we'll work our way back over into our prototype here in Lovable. And we'll see if we can now move forward with signing up for our simple budget application. I'm going to go ahead and click the sign up button. We'll enter in my email address and we'll select a password. And we'll click create account. Now here you can see that we've been taken directly into the dashboard for our simple budget account. And if we remember, we asked this to be a mobile first application. So that's going to be one of the very first things that we test here. I've got a little Chrome plugin that enables me to change my browser sizes pretty quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and change my browser size. Let's go to iPhone 6. Let's go to a smaller screen size and see what we get. We'll go ahead over to our app preview. And now we can see here on our screen, we could get a pretty good idea of what this might look like on our phone. See if we could go even a little bit smaller than that. And we'll go back over to our full-size screen here and take a look. And we're just going to start running through some of the functionality in our application here. One other change that I've decided to make here in our interface, when I asked for a category breakdown from Lovable here, it originally gave me the same color for two different categories, which as a UX designer and really just as a user of a product, I can understand how that might be a little bit confusing. So I've asked Lovable here just to apply different color per category, which it's done. And I think we're now at the point where we can go ahead and begin our user testing in our next lesson. We'll see you over there. Welcome to day 3 of building our MVP. This activity requires the free trial of UserBrain. Please register for an account if you don't already have one. To get started, open UserBrain in your browser. From your dashboard, click the Create a New Test button, and from here we're going to create a prototype test. going to go ahead and give it a name. We're going to call it our budget app. We're also going to give it a test URL. Now for our test URL, I'm going to go ahead and switch tabs over to Lovable. And in Lovable, on the right-hand side towards the top, we're going to see what looks like a little browser bar. And inside of that little browser bar is going to be a few different icons, one of which is going to be a little arrow that points up and to the right. And we're going to click on that, which is going to open a preview in a new tab. Now that we have our application running in our new tab, we're going to go ahead and click the copy button to grab the URL, and we'll go ahead and paste that over into UserBrain. Next, we're going to auto-create our tasks and our tests with AI. That's going to be the option at the bottom in the middle here. We'll go ahead and select that. And here we're going to get a description of the prototype. So for this, we can just paste in the description and list of core features from day one. So we'll go ahead and go back to our notes, and we'll go back into our answers from day one. And let's grab those core features. We'll go ahead and paste those in. And then above that, we're going to go ahead and copy and paste in our answer from question number 1, which is around what we are trying to build and who it's for. I'm actually going to paste that at the top here. Just clean that up a little bit. And we'll go ahead and have it create those tasks for us. Now, as it's creating the tasks, I'm going to go ahead and scroll through. And just to make sure that those tasks line up with what I'm expecting from the application, we'll make any edits as needed. Okay, now that we've reviewed our test questions and made sure they're in line with our prototype and our expectations, we're going to go ahead and click the Get Testers button. Now, since our application is targeted towards mobile devices, we'll go ahead and select a mobile device. And for this test, we're going to choose the United States. We will choose a couple age ranges. We'll maybe pick those younger age ranges. And gender, don't think that's going to matter too much for us for our test. We will add 2 screener questions to filter out our test audience, which is a best practice. Now for our demo, we're going to ask 2 yes or no questions, but in practice, we would construct better questions and answers. So we might actually see a warning from the system here. We'll go ahead and paste in our question and our answers. We're going to approve folks that have tracked their personal finances or monthly spending in the past. And again, there's that pop-up message that I mentioned a moment ago, just letting us know that yes and no isn't the best way to write our screener questions. It's even showing us some information here on how we can. But again, for the sake of our demo, we're just going to do some yes or no questions. We're going to reject the no, approve the yes, and we're going to go ahead and add in 1 more screener question in here. And same thing, we're going to do yes or no. We're going to approve our yes, and we're going to reject our no. We'll go ahead and save that. And we'll do a quick review. That all looks good. We'll click the continue button. So we're going to set the number of testers to 2. We use our 2 free participants included in the trial, and verify the information here around the demographics that we're looking for. And then we're going to go ahead and click the button to place our order. Now, our test results typically arrive around 20 minutes. Sometimes I've seen them take up to an hour. Sometimes I've seen them come in a little bit sooner. So we'll take a pause here and check back in once we have those results. Now that our user test is complete, we will review the results. We can do this in a number of ways, either by reading the transcripts, watching the videos, or my personal favorite, reading through the AI insights. I can see from this test that we have a usability issue that we'll need to address. Both users reported that the edit function appears to be broken. That's an oversight on my part. We'll need to have Lovable update that functionality. Let's see. Also noted that one of the users has suggested a dark mode, claiming the current colors are a bit hard on the eyes. I think that's a quick win that Lovable can handle too. Additionally, both of our users were a bit confused about what actions to do first, so adding some text may help. We did receive some praise, but we're going to focus on fixing the issues first. I'll copy and paste this feedback into my notes and ask Lovable to make changes that I noted above. Okay, now that my changes are done, I would normally repeat the testing cycle for more feedback. In reality, this could even take up into an entire day. But for right now, we're just going to check out the edit functionality. We'll go ahead and edit our entertainment expense. And we'll set that to 300 and update that transaction. All right, looks like that worked out great. We're also going to check out our dark mode toggle. It looks like it placed this in the top right-hand side of our application. Ooh, that's looking pretty good too. I think we might need to do a little bit of work on our color contrast at the top here for accessibility. So that might be an additional ask that I have on my list as well. But that'll work for right now for our demo. In your lesson, we'll have you make at least one change to your prototype based off of your users' feedback. We'll see you in the next lesson. Welcome back to day 4 of building an MVP. In this activity, we'll document our work, strengthen stability and security before release, and add some branding to our application. To get started, open ChatGPT in your browser. We're going to submit a prompt, and this one's going to say to create developer documentation for my prototype, including the feature list, technical architecture list, and usage notes in plain English. We'll let ChatGPT think for a moment, and then we'll copy and paste the results into our notes to review. This document's going to serve as our living development guide, and it's a key artifact for when handing our project off to a development team. We'll go ahead and spend a moment and verify that everything in our documentation is accurate. In our next step, we're going to move back over to ChatGPT, and we're going to ask ChatGPT to generate a QA test cases and acceptance criteria for our prototype, and include happy path and edge cases. We'll let ChatGPT think on that for a moment, and then we'll copy and paste the results into our notes to review. And similar to what we did for our dev documentation, we're going to go ahead and review our QA checklist. And this document is going to be used when testing our application in Lovable. I know it looks a little long, but a lot of these test cases are pretty quick. I can see here this one just involves logging in and logging out. Next, we'll spend a little bit of time branding our application. Personally, I like dark blue, green, and light gray for my finance apps. A logo with a piggy bank kind of sounds fun too. We'll go ahead and ask Lovable to apply branding to our application now. I'm going to go ahead and paste in my prompt. I'm asking Lovable to update the UI with my branding, dark blue, green, light gray, to create a logo with a piggy bank. Make sure our colors are accessibility compliant. And finally, I was thinking about adding a background image to our login page. So we'll let Lovable think for a little bit. We'll check back in just a moment, and we'll see what it's created for us. Okay, and we're back. I think we're ready to have one final look at our application UI before we're ready for prime time and day 5. Welcome to day 5 of the MVP sprint. In this activity, we'll deploy our application to production, verify deployment, and set up tracking OKRs and Tability. Note, this activity does require a free trial of Tability. Please register for an account if you don't already have one. To get started, open Lovable in your browser. Before I dive in, I wanted to note I made a couple changes to my application. I asked Lovable to create a marketing page and link to the sign-in and sign-up page. This will give us a more realistic flow. I also updated the name. It's now called Penny Pig. You can make these same types of enhancements for your application too. Now, let's get ready to go live. From the top right corner, select Publish and follow the on-screen instructions. We do have the option to add a custom domain. We're going to skip that for now. We're going to go ahead and check out our description. That looks good. We could change the image, but for the sake of our demonstration here, we're just going to go ahead and leave it as is. And as long as we don't see any security errors down here in our security scan area, we can go ahead and click Publish. If we had a little more time right now, we would go through and make sure we don't have any warnings, but for the sake of our demo, we're going to go ahead and click Publish. Now this process will take just a moment, but when it's complete, we will have our application up and running on our website address, which you can see here up at the top of the screen on the right-hand side. And it looks like we've shipped. We can now go ahead and copy a link to our application and share that with our mentor or peer to start to get some feedback. For our next step, we're going to open Tability in our browser. And from the left navigation menu, we're going to click on Plans. And then from within this screen, we'll click the Create a New Plan button. Then we'll select OKRs for our view mode. We'll give a name to our plan. We'll call it Penny Pig OKRs. And we'll go ahead and leave the rest of these options as defaults and click Create. And then finally, we'll import our goals from our notes. So we'll click on the Use Magic Import button. And we'll go ahead and go over to our notes and copy in our OKRs that we had that ChatGPT helped us out with. Let's go back over to Tability and go ahead and paste those in and click on the button Import from Text. Now that we have our OKRs imported into Tability, we can go ahead and review what we have, make any changes as needed. Okay, now that we have our OKRs imported into Tability, we're going to go ahead and start to fill out our plan here. And that's it, folks. From here on out, we'll continue completing tasks, updating OKRs, and iterating on our prototype. In closing, think about what we just accomplished together. We took an idea from spark to prototype, put it into the hands of real users, listened, adapted, branded, tested, and shipped it live, all under 1 hour. So if we can do that here, imagine what you can do with your own ideas. You now have the tools, the process, and the confidence to move faster than ever before. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Start building, keep learning, and get your ideas into the world.